A car backfires on the street outside. Your shoulders jump. Your heart slams once, hard. And only after all of that, a full half-second later, does the thinking part of your brain catch up and tell you, it was just a car. That gap matters. In that gap is the entire story of why you're alive today. You flinch before you understand. You duck before you decide to duck. Your body reacts to danger before your mind even knows what the danger is. That's not a flaw in your wiring. That's the wiring working exactly as intended. Here's the strange part. Your eyes see the world in full color, full detail, full resolution, but that isn't the version your brain uses to protect you. There's a second path, a shortcut, and it's blind. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping this shortcut in the brain of a rat, and what he found applies just as much to you. When a threatening signal hits your senses, it splits into two roads. One road goes up to your visual cortex, the part of your brain that actually sees, analyzes, and understands. That road is slow, careful, accurate. The other road skips all of that. It goes straight to a small almond-shaped cluster deep in your brain called the amygdala. This road doesn't wait for clarity. It doesn't care if the shape in the grass is a snake or a stick. It only asks one question, could this kill me? And if the answer might be yes, it acts immediately. Before you've consciously seen anything at all. Ledoux called this the low road. And the low road is fast for a reason. It's roughly twice as quick as the high road, the one that actually shows you what's happening. Twice as fast doesn't sound like much. But when a rattlesnake strikes, or a car swerves, or a branch snaps behind you in the dark, that fraction of a second is the entire margin between surviving and not. Think about what that means. Somewhere inside you, right now, there's a system that would rather be wrong 1,000 times than be right one time too late. That's why you jump at a shadow that turns out to be nothing. That's why a rope on the ground can make your stomach drop before your eyes finish confirming it isn't a snake. Your amygdala isn't waiting for proof. It's playing the odds. And for most of human history, those were good odds to play. Picture where this system was built. Not in a city, not in a house with locked doors and streetlights. It was built on open grassland, in small bands of humans who had no walls, no weapons that worked at a distance, and no guarantee that tomorrow would be safe. In that world, a rustle in tall grass had a real chance of being a predator. The humans who hesitated, who waited to be sure, who let the slow, accurate road finish its analysis first, sometimes didn't get a second chance to learn from the mistake. The ones who flinched first and asked questions later did. Evolution doesn't reward accuracy, it rewards survival. And a nervous system that overreacts to a falling leaf costs you almost nothing. A nervous system that underreacts to an actual predator costs you everything. So generation after generation, the fast, twitchy, occasionally wrong system won. It's the one you inherited. There's a second piece to this puzzle, and it comes from psychologist Paul Ekman, who spent years studying human faces in places as different as the highlands of Papua New Guinea and the streets of Tokyo. What he found was that fear doesn't just live in your amygdala, it lives on your face, and it looks almost identical everywhere on Earth. Widened eyes, raised eyebrows, a slightly open mouth. Ekman found this exact expression across cultures that had never had contact with each other, never shared a language, never shared a single frame of reference. Why would fear look the same on a face in the Amazon and a face in Chicago? Because the expression itself isn't decoration. Widen eyes let in more light and expand your field of view so you can spot the threat faster. Raised eyebrows do the same. Even your face, before you've thought a single conscious thought, is already rearranging itself to help you survive whatever's coming. You are, in this very moment, walking around with a face and a brain that were assembled by threats that mostly don't exist anymore. And this is where the story turns strange, because you don't live on that grassland. You live in a world of emails, deadlines, group chats, and news alerts. There are no lions. But the low road doesn't know that. It was never updated. It still treats a sharp email from your boss the same way it once treated a shape moving in the dark. Your heart still races. Your palms still sweat. The amygdala still fires first and asks questions later. Except now the questions are about your job, your relationships, your reputation, not your literal survival. Psychologist Elizabeth Phelps, who studies how fear gets learned and unlearned in the human brain, has shown that this ancient circuitry is remarkably easy to trigger and remarkably hard to override. You can know intellectually completely that a public speaking engagement will not kill you, and your amygdala will still flood your body with the exact chemical signature it would use for a genuine predator. Your rational mind knows the truth. Your fast road doesn't care what your rational mind knows. This is the mismatch at the center of modern anxiety. You are carrying a Pleistocene alarm system into a world it was never built for. It fires constantly because modern life is full of ambiguous signals. A notification you haven't opened yet, a silence from someone who usually replies fast, a look on a coworker's face you can't quite read. None of these will hurt you, but your amygdala doesn't wait for certainty. It never did. That was never its job. So what do you do with an alarm system that can't tell the difference between a lion and a text message? You don't get rid of it. You can't. It's not a bug you patch out. It's the foundation the rest of your brain was built on top of, but understanding it changes your relationship to it. The next time your chest tightens before you've even read the message, you can recognize what's actually happening. That's not you being weak or dramatic or broken. That's a multi-million-year-old survival circuit doing exactly the job it was shaped to do, just aimed at a target it was never designed to see. The flinch isn't a flaw, it's a fossil, a piece of the grassland, still running, still watching, still convinced that hesitation is the more dangerous choice. So the next time you jump before you understand why, don't be embarrassed by it. Listen to what it's telling you about where you came from. Somewhere behind every one of your ancestors who survived long enough to have you, there was a moment just like that one, a shape in the grass, a sound in the dark, a half second where the body moved before the mind caught up, and because that half second worked, you're here to flinch too.